Welcome back, everybody. In this session we're going to do the second part of our Kandinsky line and shape picture. Last time we used oil pastels to make a cool shape and line composition like Kandinsky, and in this session we're going to use the watercolor to create the background. Okay. One thing I forgot to mention in the last one that was in our Pastel 101 video was scratching through the surface. You can do that if you want. You don't have to. I didn't on either of my pictures, but right now I will, just to kind of bring that piece through. I'll do it right there to kind of echo the zigzag line there, so we kind of have that feeling in. And what we're going to do is we're going to get down to our watercolor painting. Remember, on the back of your picture you should have your name, your homeroom teacher. Okay, that's essential so that I know who it is when I'm grading it and photographing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to start out. These are the supplies you should have. You should have a full water cup with clean water, an empty water cup for dirty water when you're done with it, a little bitty water cup. Put your fresh water in so that you can have nice, clean, fresh water. You should have a watercolor set like this: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, brown, and black. And then you should have a blotting paper towel and a brush, a number 10 brush. Okay, and then also you're going to have a palette to mix your colors on and to create some washes. So to get started, we probably have talked about watercolors and how to use them. We probably watched our watercolor 101, and so you know you're going to fill this up to make a wash. You know how to overlap, you know how to mix some colors, you know how to do some wet on wet and dry on dry. And I'm going to just start here. I'm going to take some water and I'm just going to go over a little section here. And as you can't see it really well yet, but the water is kind of soaking into the paper. And actually on this one I forgot to do a little white in the background, so I'm going to take a white pastel and just make another little circle right here. We talked about white last time, and that if you wanted an area of your paper to be white, that you had to actually color it white with white oil pastel. So here I'm just kind of doing a little bit of white there so you can see it. So I got my paper wet with the water, and now I'm going to create a wash. I'm going to take some red and put it into my little water here and make a light wash of red. Okay, I'm going to take this red and I'm going to paint it right on top. And here you can see it doesn't get into the oil pastel. It goes around the oil pastel. Now that water is in there, I'm going to get a little more red. And notice how I'm rotating my brush and just getting the tip in there. I'm not smashing the brush down into the watercolor, but I'm getting it just lightly in there. And there's kind of one area. Notice I'm pulling my brush, not pushing it or smashing it down. And there's kind of a little red section. I'm going to take another section over here, and since I've got red down here, I'm going to use some blue. Notice how I washed my brush out and then blotted it on my paper towel. Now I'm going to get some blue in here until it's nice and dark. I want a darker wash of blue, and then I'm going to take this and paint it right over this edge of my paper. And notice if I paint right over that circle there, it does not get overpowered by the watercolor because it's oil pastel that we're painting over. And here you can see where my white oil pastel is because it's not soaking in right there. And if I take a little paper towel and just blot it, it'll come right up nice and easy. Okay, and then right here where this blue square or rectangle-y shape is, I want it to be a little different, okay, because it's right next to that blue. So I'm going to take some red. I'm just going to blend it together, do a wet on wet this way, so it looks different on that edge. Okay, I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the blue and the red over here so that I have two colors that are kind of filling in this background. So keep your colors simple. Choose two colors, and you can do wet on wet between two colors in your picture and kind of change where the colors might be. Maybe bright red in one place, dark red in another. And notice how as I blend these two together, it changes to almost like a darker purple. Okay, so here is my almost finished picture. And you can see how that's looking very Kandinsky-esque. It looks very much Kandinsky-like with the circles and the other shapes and the other lines with that kind of light watercolor wash in the background. So this is kind of our goal for today. If you get done early, let me know. We'll talk about it. We'll see what you've got. But basically we want to have a nice variety of shapes and lines, which should have been done last time. And for our watercolor wash today, we want to have two colors that you're kind of mixing wet on wet together, so that you've got one section of color, my bluish here, and the reddish kind of going around the outside, so that you've got the two colors interacting. Okay? Once you're done, look towards the board to see where this goes. It should go on the drying rack somewhere. Watercolors get put away. Any dirty water goes back into your dirty water cup. Okay, rinse your brushes out really well, how we talked about it, how we showed you in class. You should have a clean brush and put it back into the container, and with your leftover paper towel you can wipe out your water cup so there's no dirties left in it, and you can wipe out your palette. Just take it and squish it into the little holes and get all of that extra paint out of there so that it's nice and clean. It is your own responsibility to clean up after yourselves. Okay? So make sure that when you do clean up after yourself, your palette looks nice, your little water cup looks nice, and your brush is nice and clean. Okay? So that concludes our Kandinsky oil pastel watercolor picture, and this is basically what it should look like when you're done. Thanks.